That is a board on a wall. Thrilling.
Hey tubers. Today we're going to talk about how to scribe a wooden panel so you can fit it to a irregular surface such as a wall that is not perfectly flat or smooth, or to some other contoured shape. It can be done with brick, stone, any irregular shape. If you scribe your panel to it, it should fit snugly and make you feel snuggly. So let's take a look at the project we have on hand today. We're putting a wooden panel on this wall so that we can have a headboard in this room. We're going to have a bed with its head against that wall. So we're going to do a flat built-in headboard with shelf storage. We're going to use a single piece of plywood to go wall to wall, and the walls are uneven, as most walls are. So, well, as a lot of walls are. So we want to scribe our wooden panel, plywood panel, to fit the walls so it's nice and snug and looks like a professional job. Here the challenge is going to be getting it to fit nice and tight on both sides. Since we can't put the piece in here and scribe it directly, we're going to have to make a sample piece and scribe it, and then use that as a template or as a pattern and transfer the scribe to the panel and cut it out and try to get it in here and fit it. So let's do this. So you can see this is going to be more than a beginner's project because we have to get a tight fit on both sides in each corner. So let's do this. Okay, so now we're set up in the shop where we have everything we never need. But today we have what we do need because we have this piece of plywood to put on the wall, and we got a saw to cut it. Well, the first cut is going to be with this saw. This is my track saw, one of my favorite tools because I can set it up and make one cut, and it's nice and clean and straight, and I really don't have to work too hard at it. So that wall that we're going to cover with this plywood is a little over 74 inches wide at its widest point. So I'm going to cut this to 75 inches so I can have a nice wide template to do the scribes for the walls. So let's do that now. That last bit was a little sloppy because it was unsupported on the one end, but it's the back and the bottom-ish, so I just let it fall. Let's see how chip-free our cut is here with using this track saw. Hoo-wee. I do like that. And it's so straight, so clean. Love it. So right now we're back inside, and we are going to mark this scribe line with a pen and a scribe block, and we'll do both sides, and we'll take it back out to the garage and cut it. So let's go ahead and scribe. To do the scribing, I have taped a pen to a block of wood that will keep a constant distance from the wall. So as the wall goes in and out, it'll carry the wall contour from this edge to the pen tip at that edge. And I've gone ahead and screwed the panel up to where it's going to be installed. I've left myself some space here so I'm not wasting any more wood than necessary. I should have wasted a little bit more because, as you can see, the scribe line goes right through the screw head. So be careful when you're doing this that you don't put your screw where your line is supposed to be. And I use this straight edge as a reference straight edge as a reference to mark square to this wall, since there's no real straight reference point on this wall. So now we just have to hold our scribe block nice and flat, as level as we can, and let it ride down the wall, marking the wall contour on the green tape. Oh good, we missed that one. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm going to set up and do the other side. So it's several days later. We're back in the shop, and we have our template all scribed and laid out on the shop bench so that we can cut along our scribe line. And we made this scribe because the wall is an uneven surface and it's not straight. We can't use the track saw that we used earlier to cut this because it's not straight, so we have to freehand with a tool that can cut a curve, such as the jiggle saw. And here I have my jiggle saw. So I have it set at a 15-degree bevel so that as it cuts along the scribe, it'll undercut it slightly so that it leaves a point at the front face so it can be sanded easier than sanding the whole edge. And that'll allow me to get a even more fine tune to the line with this. So let's cut the left side of our template. Okay, so I'm really close to my scribe line here. I went past it in a couple places, but not too bad. So I'll just hit this with a sanding block to bring it to the line. Yeah, see, I'm past it there. But I'll get it to the line with a sanding block. And having this bevel here really makes it easy to sand just this point back to the line of the tape. So let's do that. So it just occurred to me that I've never made a sanding block. I just pick up blocks that I find in the shop or on the job site, wrap sandpaper around it, call it a sanding block, and 9 times out of 10, sandpaper fits very nicely and the whole thing works out very well. So, hooray for scrap wood. Okay, so that's the left side. We're going to flip it around and do the right side. There goes something. Let's take this back inside. No, it'll be just the first time back inside for this. Let's take this back inside and check our fit. So the test fit piece on the right looks pretty good. There's some gap going on here, but pretty tiny, so we can leave that here as well. So that's good. Let's check the other side. Again, we're lined up across our reference point here, and our scribe line this side looks really good. Slight gap down through here, a little bit at the bottom, but that's pretty good. So now that we have our template cut and we know that it's going to work, we can go scribe it onto the big piece and cut it, and hopefully it'll slide in just like the template did. Okay, so here I have my scribe. I have it set up so that this edge will ride on the panel, and it'll keep my pen from tipping as I trace the line. So I'm going to go ahead and trace that line now. Now I will cut the line. Well, I'll cut outside the line.
So again, I'm going to keep that 15-degree bevel on this cut so it can be shaped by hand as needed a lot more easily than sanding a whole ½ inch. So I noticed after I put the template on the main sheet that a stink bug had found its way onto the back of the template, and then it got crushed onto the main panel. That's going to be the top right corner of the finished piece. I hope stink bug guts sand out. So I got my scribe, my sanding block, so we're all set up for side number 2. Let's do this one and see how it fits. So this is pretty good evidence as to why we need to describe this. We have about a ½ inch cut off here and a pretty even taper to about 1¼ inch here. So this was definitely a warranted task. Okay, let's take this inside and see what happens. I'm thinking it'll fit.
Alright, so we are now back inside again. And we're gonna see if we can get this panel to fit in place. It's upside down. So I'll just line it up nicely again with the straight edge here, tack it at each corner, and then probably work my way across and down just to keep it flat. We're using jerk screws on this. Whoop. That's GRK, and they're a 1 inch long So a 1-inch long truss head screw with a T15 driver. And I just have that chucked up in my impact driver so we can screw it up.
Okay, so we got all the screws in and the board is on the wall, as you can see there. Let's take a closer look. Yeah, here on the left side there's a shadow, giant shadow, but there's a gap there. That's strong 16th there. That is unfortunate, but it's not too bad. I can live with that. The Scribe method is very handy for fitting a panel or any board to an irregular surface. So that's the finished wall. You can see at the bottom, right and left, I use the same technique to scribe that. It's only about 10 inches on each side. And that is a board on a wall. Thrilling. So that's how you scribe a panel to fit wall to wall, uneven wall to uneven wall in one panel using one template with two sides. And as you can see, it's not a perfect fit, but it's well within my limits of tolerance for making a headboard for my own home. So I hope you learned something on this, and I will see you in the next one.